Hey, I'm Jocelyn, and today we're going to make one of my family's favorite meals from our time living in Portugal. This is chicken and clams. We loved it so much that the restaurant we went to eat it at all of the time, we just dubbed chicken and clams. It was actually called Cafe Espresso, and sadly it is no more. But before they closed and before we moved back to the States, the chef taught me how to make this, and it is a fabulous dish. So we're gonna start by putting our chicken in a marinade of garlic, white wine, and onion, salt, and pepper. And actually, I'm gonna use some of the onion in my marinade, and then some of it in the thing. So we're gonna cut this into 2 bits. So I'll just go ahead and get started with that. I'm gonna put about half a cup of white wine into 2 pounds-ish of, it's about 1 kilo, so a little bit more than 2 pounds of chicken. And that chicken's already been cut up, and it is, it's deboned. And the woman who made this for us all the time, she did hers on the bone. But you know what? I think it's a pain in the rear end to have to like eat off the bone and stuff, especially with little kids. So I just get stuff that's already deboned and I just chop it into pieces. So I'm going to take a little salt, about a teaspoon or so. And we're going to let that sit for about an hour. If you let it sit longer, you can do that. My eyes are watering something fierce. This onion is killing me. So I'm going to give this a quick stir and get the heck out of here for a few minutes. Okay, so chicken has marinated. I went ahead and I cut up some onions, and we're going to go over to the stove. I'm going to cook the onions, and then we're going to throw the chicken in. And once that's pretty nice and golden, we're gonna throw in the clams and the lemon juice, and then everything will be ready. Okay, so I'm gonna start with putting my olive oil into my pan. And I've got not quite, I'm gonna say about 1/3 of a cup, maybe a little bit more. You know what, it doesn't really matter that much. We're gonna throw in the rest of that onion. And I've cut this pretty big. I'm just gonna let this sit, and when those get nice and soft, a little bit golden, we're gonna throw in the chicken. While this cooks, I'm gonna go over and chop up my cilantro, because that's just gonna go on at the very end. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that ready while these are working. I like to take out the big sticks if I can. It's not a big deal if you leave them in. I just rather it be mostly the leaves. So I'm gonna kind of do that on these big ones. And then I will give these a rough chop and we'll be done. Those are starting to get nice, just a little bit gold on the edges. And then we're gonna throw this chicken in along with the marinade. And you know, most people don't really put marinade in with, but this is how they do it in Portugal. Maria Joao taught me this, and this is her way, so I'm going to do it her way. Okay, so I realized I usually cook this in a lot bigger pan, and the liquid is dispersed a lot more, and I'm able to brown my meat better, and it wasn't working in this little pan. So I just pulled out another pan, and I am browning the chicken a little bit more in this one, and then I'm going to put it all in here. But first I'm going to take my clams and I'm going to put them in this marinade that's over here, still bubbling, and I'm going to put the juice of 1 lemon in there. And these clams are already cooked. I bought them frozen and pre-cooked. You can use fresh clams if you have access to them. It's a little more work because you've got to rinse them in salt water and things like that. So for me, the stuff that's already cooked and ready to go is a lot easier. If you're using frozen, you need to set it out just a little bit, kind of while you're doing your prep work, and let that ice come off of it, and then rinse that away so you're not getting a bunch of yucky clam juice in there. So we're just going to carefully put our clams in. sauce. And we're gonna throw lemon juice in. And this is still cooking. So I'm just gonna throw that in, and now I'm gonna dump my chicken in. Y'all, just use the big pan to start with. What a pain. Oh well, that's the way we do things on occasion. All right, so I'm just gonna give this a really good stir and let those clams heat up just a little bit. Got this on like medium-high heat just to get them warm. And we're gonna throw the cilantro on top. And that is it. It's going to sit for a couple minutes. I'm gonna let this sit for just a couple of minutes so those get nice and warm. Then I'll throw it on a platter, and my rice looks like it's done. So yeah, rice is perfect. I'm just going to dump this onto a platter. Smells like Portugal. So we will eat dinner, and Mark grabbed a bottle of vinho verde. Vinho verde is Portuguese wine it's a white wine that's young, and it's got a little bit of effervescence to it. So this is one of my favorites to do with this dish. So we'll go eat now. All right, rice and chicken and clams. As we say in Portuguese, na mesa, everybody to the table. I hope you guys will enjoy this just as much as we did, and if you are ever in Portugal, find yourself some chicken and clams.